One. Recording.
All right, welcome to Rough Draft Podcast. First one of the day. We got Gun over there, and we
So,
got your boy here, Charlie. How you doing today, Gun?
good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty
A
good.
little nervous.
Me too, man. Hey,
Big first
but
podcast.
first podcast today. We're going to be talking about NCAA and UNC basketball too, along with coaching hirings that happened, and looking at the 2021 NBA mock draft and make Final Four predictions. So let's get into it. Roy Williams retirement. What are your thoughts on that, Gun?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't too surprised. I mean, I from what I've heard, he was really frustrated with the whole transfer portal situation, and he's not really a big fan of the whole NIL rights for all these players that are fighting for that. And
Yeah, I get what you mean, but I also feel like another reason into that is the players, like new players that come out of high school that are really hyped. Like I feel like they have an ego that says that they can run the show. They don't have to listen to it, and you listen to like whoever they're in charge with. And I think that's also getting on Roy's nerves too. But I expected this last season, to be honest with you, when they didn't have a good team. I figured he was going to call it quits either that season or see what this season had, and then
well,
I
if
think
they had a good team, if they were supposed to have a good team next year, he would not be retiring.
yeah, well,
He
like
doesn't like the outlook for his team next year, and it's. I mean, to be fair,
yeah, they lost Walker Kessler to Auburn and
Harrison
Garrison
Brooks,
Brooks to
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. I mean,
They
they
did
have
bring in Brady Manick, transfer from
yeah, from
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
He's pretty good. He's regressed over his 4 years. The first year he was playing with Trey Young, and he was actually doing really well. Their second best player, and over the years, it's like he's gotten worse. This year, at points, he wasn't even starting. By the end of the season, he kind of picked it back up, but really, he's just mainly a 3-and-D guy,
Yeah.
kind of, but more of an interior.
So,
You
what do you think of what do you think that what's UNC is going to come out of this for Roy Williams retiring and them hiring Hubert Davis? Do you think they're going to be a threat potentially, or do you think they're not going to make the tournament?
Next year, I don't see them being good.
I see
I think
them.
Hubert Davis was the right hire, but I don't think it's going to be an immediate response to his hiring. I think
Yeah,
you're
I
going to
feel
have to
like
give them a few years before they really get good again. I mean,
I
look,
feel like they. It depends on how, like, what I would say is that Hubert Davis, he was next beside Roy Williams a lot, so I feel like he knows what to do. I mean, they could potentially be at an above 500 team, but again, I'm not saying that Carolina is going to be a threat until first couple of games of the seasons to see how just Hubert is as a coach and how they are going to play.
yeah, I see them upper middle of the pack in the ACC. I mean, the ACC is down. It was this year, and I think it probably will be again next year too. There aren't that many great players in the ACC right now. I mean,
Yeah,
teams like
especially
Florida State, Duke, maybe even Louisville. I see all of those finishing ahead of them. Virginia, I don't
yeah,
know,
Virginia's losing Jay Huff too,
somewhere
big guy.
between somewhere in the 5 to 7 range in the ACC. They probably finished. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
here,
feel like they're still. I feel like we just have to see where the season goes and how they come out the first few games to determine anything. Because I mean, if you think about it, Duke last year they had a decent squad, but they didn't really do anything. I mean, they started playing like Duke basketball until the tournament, but other than that, they were just struggling. Um,
yeah. I mean,
but
here I'm gonna look at. I mean, here's my projected lineup for Carolina next year. I
all
see. I
right,
mean, Caleb Love at the point again.
yeah,
Caleb Love can score, but Caleb Love is not a guy that you give the team to and let him run the show. I mean, he's not going to win you games as a point guard, especially not as a freshman. That was one of the problems in the NCAA tournament last year. This year when they lost to Wisconsin. I mean, you can't win with three guards starting in the backcourt, three freshman guards starting in the backcourt. But they do bring all three of those guys back. So probably Caleb Love, R.J. Davis, and Kerwin Walton are going to start. Armando will probably start, and I'm going to say that Manic will start at 4.
yeah, I think that's a decent, solid lineup, and also I feel like again, it just really depends on how Hubert Davis is and his coaching team is, because it could just take one wrong step and then go down. I'm not saying that I'm not expecting them to go far, but I mean, it's going to take Hubert Davis probably definitely I would say a few seasons to get started, maybe one or two. Other than that, if he's not doing good, I don't think he's going to have a job anymore at UNC. They're going to have
Yeah,
to
I
fire.
agree.
They're
I
going to have to
agree.
find somebody
I
else.
think they'll give him at least 3 or 4 seasons, but I also think by that third or fourth season, they'll probably get it turned around and they'll be back on track for where UNC basketball
Yeah,
should be. All right, let's get into some of these other candidates they could have hired. I already said I think Hubert Davis was the right choice, but what I think they should Wes Miller. Wes Miller, the assistant at UNCG, made the tournament last year. He's been really good there. He got hired at Cincinnati after he didn't get the UNC job. What I think they should have done is what
yeah.
Indiana did with
I think he got a 6 year, 700, a 7.875 million dollar contract to be a head coach at Cincinnati. That's a big
yeah, I mean,
contract.
that's fine.
So I
Be
mean,
at Cincinnati. It's another really good historically good basketball program.
we'll see on
Oscar
Wes
Roberts.
Miller's line at UNCG is 10 regular season titles. Led UNC Greensboro into two NCAA tournaments. And I mean, he did play. I mean, he did play for the championship team for UNC back in 2005. So I
Johnny
mean,
Newman, guard from Clemson, he transferred to UNCG following Wes Miller, followed him again to Cincinnati. Uh, here. My thing with UNC, what they should have done, look at what Indiana did with Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson was an assistant for the Knicks. Indiana was looking for a coach. Brad Million turned down $70 million over the course of 7 years. He didn't want to go there. But anyways, Indiana ended up hiring Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson was an assistant for the Knicks. Wasn't like, I mean, he wasn't going to get a job anywhere else. It's just he was an Indiana alum, so they brought him in. He's done a great job so far. I mean, he's gotten everybody to come back except for Armin Franklin. He went to Virginia, but they should have a good team next year. Trace Jackson Davis, Big Ten first team all conference last year. He's coming back. So I mean, he's a potential player of the year candidate, maybe the best player in the country returning next year. But the thing that they did is they hired Dan Fife, an assistant at Michigan State, to be their coach in waiting. Mike Woodson's 64. In a couple years, he's going to be gone. So when he's gone, they had Dan Fife behind him to pick up where he left off. That's what UNC could have done with Wes Miller, but they lost that opportunity and he went to Cincinnati.
and I mean, you have other so UNC had between Hubert Davis, Jerry Stockhouse, Steve Robinson, King Rice, and Wes Miller. Obviously, we already know the other
That's just in the
bad
Carolina family. I mean, there
Yeah,
are tons of
and I
guys
mean,
outside of there that they could have gotten. Like,
see, I read some speculation that they were going to try to get Michael Jordan to become the head coach, and this is my take on
you
it.
don't want Michael Jordan coaching your team.
Listen,
Michael
this
Jordan
is
is not the kind of guy to coach it.
Exactly. He might be the greatest of all time, but you see, he's well. I mean, you got the whole typical LeBron over Jordan, but
I'm not.
you had. I still think I still think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. But you think about it is Michael Jordan is the owner of the Hornets. We went 7-59 one year with having the GOAT as our owner. Even though, yeah, you can say that he doesn't control the Hornets, but again, he can make the Hornets great if he chose to. He just doesn't. He's not. He doesn't really. I think
The
he fell in
difference
love with
between the
basketball.
Hornets and the Carolina, though, Carolina is a destination. NBA, there are a few destinations like New York, Los Angeles, Miami. Those are places where people want to go play. Carolina is it may not be in a big city, but Carolina is a college where people want to play. With all the history.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a top, maybe the best program in the history of college basketball.
and I mean, I don't feel like that would have been a good choice, but also another person I don't think would have been a good choice is Jerry Stockhouse.
Oh.
See, see on his
Jerry
record,
Stackhouse will be able to. I mean, he's going to recruit. He's going to get some guys just because of his name. He's Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah.
But Jerry Stackhouse isn't going to win games in Vanderbilt. Also,
See,
really nobody's going to win games in Vanderbilt. The
Well,
academic standards
also,
are crazy. The program is just not it's never just been in a great place, and the facilities are awful.
well, if you think on his record as a coach, he's been the head coach over at Vanderbilt for 2 years.
He has what,
He
three
won it,
SEC ones, four
I
SEC
think so,
ones? Yeah, over 2 years.
and um, he also was the head coach for the G League for the Raptors, won a championship in the G League, was on the Raptors coaching staff for just a season. I mean, he did, like I said, he did play for UNC, led him to a Final Four appearance in '95, and
I mean, yeah,
spent
he was a good player. He was a good player, but
yeah he spent
isn't a
18
coach. I
years
mean,
in the
he's not a.
NBA. But I just seeing Vanderbilt
You can't hire somebody who wins 4 games at Vanderbilt to be the next UNC head coach. That's not a realistic.
exactly. That's the you know who plays for Vanderbilt? Scottie Pippen Jr.
He's leaving though. Is he still leaving?
Yeah, he's I think he's entering the I think he's like in the draft, but has an age not doesn't have an agent just like Armando Bacot.
They did get Lee Dort. I'm not sure if he's related to Lou Dort, but they did get a 4-star Lee Dort and another 4-star guy. I don't have him in front of me right now.
And then also with Hubert Davis on his record, he was handpicked by Roy, which means he's got to be something good. Played under Dean Smith from '88 to '92, 12 years in the NBA, and was a college basketball analyst.
Yeah, I mean he's
Right
been
there, I
around. He
feel
knows what to do. He's
yeah.
gonna make it work. You just need to give him a couple years.
And then you have another candidate, which is Steve Robinson, who was also one of Roy. He was Roy Williams' right hand man of stuff that I have read. Spent 8 years with Roy in Kansas. And then spent all 18 seasons with Roy Williams at UNC. And I
Steve
feel like if
Robinson
it
will be the
wasn't,
coach somewhere in the next couple of years.
I feel like Steve Robinson will stay with Hubert Davis. If Hubert Davis
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
do
true.
good, I feel like Steve Robinson will maybe take over.
Maybe. I don't know. I think if Hubert Davis doesn't work out, then they're gonna have to go somewhere else. I don't think they'll take that.
I feel like they need to look broad. Like I think I read something about Brad Stevens. They reached out to Brad Stevens, but they need. The
Brad
thing
Stevens.
is
The
with
only 2 places that Brad Stevens would go are Carolina and Duke, maybe Kentucky.
well, the thing is that you just can't get anybody with UNC basketball. UNC has already built a name for itself. You just can't, you just can't get anybody. You have to find somebody who's gonna continue bringing UNC great things, like Roy
Yeah.
Williams did in his 18 season, 3 national championships, a bunch of I want to say a few handful ACC titles. I'm not 100% sure
Yeah,
how many,
a good
but
amount.
he's there. It's like when Coach K retires, they ain't just gonna get nobody because it's Duke basketball. But another thing also out of this is that they really don't. There's gonna hurt the recruiting aspect. I think this year
Can't
they
sell Roy
have
Williams anymore.
DeMarco Dunn, who was ranked 49th in ESPN. That's not even a top 15,
Yeah.
top 10 person. And normally they get the top. They at least get top 10.
Yeah, I mean 1 or 2 5-stars, not anything great. But yeah, they do.
And like
They do usually have better than their best recruit being the number 49 overall.
yeah. And I mean if you think about it, it's just that it's just gonna
What
hurt their
Carolina
recruiting
does
for
well is Carolina gets guys and keeps guys. It makes like Joel Berry, Theo
exactly.
Pinson. Those guys stay. Luke May. Those are just like past couple
I
years.
think honestly, I feel
Marcus
like
Page.
yeah, like all those people, Carolina to me is a team where that you rather play all 4 years than go pro. I mean, yes, you
It's
have
not a one and done
you
destination like Duke or
exactly.
Kentucky.
Like I mean, you can argue that Kobe White's doing great in the NBA, Cole Anthony's doing great in the NBA. I mean, you can say Nazir Little is all right, but I mean, I haven't really heard anything. But like the top one and done schools is like Duke. You have Jason Tatum, Zion, Kyrie, Gary Trent Jr. is putting a name for himself. You know,
That's
all
what
these
I think.
people.
Caleb Love made a great decision to come back.
Yeah, I feel like Caleb Love could potentially stay, maybe even more than just his sophomore year. It just
He wants
honestly
to.
depends.
I don't see him staying for very much longer, but I mean, he's not at this point. He's not NBA ready.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's. I don't think they. I don't. I honestly don't think Daron Sharp should have left. I think he should have stayed. But I also did not watch that much of UNC.
Daron Sharp was their best player down the stretch last year.
And I want to. I've actually talked. I talked to a Carolina fan. You know who this one is? Goes to our school, teacher at our school. she she was not ready for. She did not understand when Walker Kessler left. And to me, I feel like Walker Kessler did not fit into the UNC system of basketball. I don't think he was.
Well,
I don't think he was
any big man that
there.
can rebound fits in UNC system, but just don't think he wanted to be there.
No,
it wasn't what he expected.
Yeah,
He
honestly
come in with expectations to play all the time, and by the end of the year he was, but he just wasn't happy with what was happening with him at the beginning of the season.
Now let's talk about the 2020 team. All right, they had Cole Anthony, 6-14.
They had Cole Anthony for less than half the season.
Yeah, but I'm saying they relied on Cole Anthony way too much when he came back.
Well, who were their leading scorers? Brandon Robinson? I mean, they didn't have any. Brandon Robinson isn't going to be your leading scorer for an ACC team. And expect to be successful.
I mean, their best. I think their best game was the game against Duke where they played them at Carolina, where Wendell Moore tipped it in at the buzzer. That was the best Carolina basketball ever.
Yeah,
that was a good game. But they rely. But the thing is like you said earlier, you can't rely on young cores to bring you.
You have to develop, unless you're getting 3 or 4 top end 5 stars every year, like Duke with Zion, RJ, and Cam Reddish.
And you saw where that led them.
But you have to be getting good 5 stars. I mean, there's a difference between like top 10 players, they're 5 stars, and the next 20, they're 5 stars. Big difference. That's what happened with Duke this year. They got 5 stars, but they weren't real like impact guys immediately.
Now, moving on from UNC basketball, understand where they need to hopefully look at. Hopefully, I wish them the best of luck with Hubert Davis. I want to see how they can do.
They'll be good. Just give them a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, and now moving on to the outside of ACC basketball, NCAA really, head coach hiring. You had Porter Moser, head coach.
Really good coach. I mean, he's an amazing coach. If you watch the game between Loyola and Illinois, Porter Moser
that was a great game.
Literally and figuratively, he ran circles around Illinois.
Well, if you think about it, he led a team that you would have never thought of to, they were 11 seed in 2018, led them to the Final Four. Nobody saw that coming. Knocked out Tennessee, I think they knocked out, I want to say Purdue, maybe. I haven't looked at
I think they beat Miami in the first round, Tennessee, Nevada, and Kansas State. That was their route to the Final Four. And then they played Michigan.
And then
they were up at halftime, I think. And then,
Yeah, and then this year they were ranked, I think, an 8 seed.
Beat Georgia Tech, ACC champion. Beat Illinois, Big Ten champion. They came up. Then they had to play another conference
the second
champion,
favorite.
Oregon State, and got knocked out. Oregon State had an amazing run. Wayne Tinkle got an extension.
And then Oklahoma picked up Jordan Goldwire from the transfer portal. Jordan Goldwire.
The Groves brothers too. Groves brothers had, I believe it was Tanner Groves had 35 points against Kansas. The other one had 21. I think they lit up Kansas. Boston.
Well, if you think about it, Jordan Goldwire, I think a good thing about picking up Goldwire is that he brings a defensive aspect to it, defensive and offense. He's not a scorer, but he knows how to pass the ball. I don't want to compare him to Lonzo Ball, but I'm saying Lonzo's more of an assist maker than a scorer.
Jordan Goldwire and Lonzo Ball are nothing. Oh,
Listen. I'm telling
Jordan
you, Jake.
Goldwire
I'm
has
saying
no
that.
pro potential.
Listen. I'm not saying he's going pro. I'm just saying he brings that
Play
assist aspect.
style.
Oh, kind of, sort of. I mean, if you think about it,
Jordan Goldwire is a good point guard. I mean, he's somebody who will be your point guard and can run your offense.
that's
He's
what I'm saying.
nothing
He's not.
special, but he's a good point
He's
guard.
nothing more than a point guard. He's nothing more than a point guard. He cannot be a shooting guard. He doesn't score,
But he can
but
run
he
your
can
offense.
bring
He
it on the
plays good. He
defensive.
plays good one-on-one defense. He gets steals, make big plays. The big key for Oklahoma next year with Porter Moser is if he can retain AJ Reeves.
Yeah.
AJ Reeves, 18 points per game, I believe, was their best player. Really, really good player. I think he was a senior last year, but all seniors have an extra year of eligibility. If he keeps his eligibility, he can come back and be potentially Big 12 Player of the Year, maybe
Now,
All American.
yeah, I can see that. Now, moving on from Oklahoma, going to Texas, Chris Beard.
I love Chris
That
Beard.
this
Chris,
man,
in my opinion,
this
Chris
man,
Beard is top 3 coach in the country.
yeah, for sure. I
Amazing
mean,
coach.
you think about it. He led
Everywhere he
20.
goes, he's been everywhere. He's been down and like coaching rec basketball, and now he's the head coach at his alma mater.
See, he in 2019 led Texas Tech to the national title game, but unfortunately lost to Virginia.
They
And
were inches away from winning that game.
yeah,
Twice.
and you think about it, and then this year, I mean, they weren't the best seed. They were still a top 10 seed. They were a 6 seed. They had Mac McClung.
Really good. Could have easily won that game. Missed 2 wide open layups down the stretch.
It's just I feel like that. I don't know why he would have left Texas Tech, but I feel like good things are coming from him at the University
Mark
of Texas.
Adams, one of his assistants, is coming back. Texas Tech will be good again next year. Mac McClung coming back, going to the NBA.
Well, the thing is with Mac McClung, I mean, I personally don't think he's NBA ready.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think
he's going
to be more NBA ready after another year. I don't think
is that he's not if he does let's say he does finally just say, hey, I'm going to the draft. He's going second round. He's not going first round.
Might not go
if he goes first round, it's going to be really late. But if he goes second round, it might be late. He might go undrafted. But I see him playing more in the G League than I see him actually playing in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just how it is, really. I mean, he's not, how tall is he?
6'1", 6'2", something around there. He's
not.
And
you got to play against
very
guards.
Tall, I mean.
You got to play against guards who are 6'6", 6'7".
I mean,
he's
a good college player, but he's not going to be much else, I don't think. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but
you know who he reminds me of?
I hope I am. I really like him. He's a really good college player. Had a great shot against Texas. Won the game. Texas was ranked like 3rd in the country. Texas kind of spiraled out. Yeah.
So, moving on from that, we're going to look at the 2021 NBA draft. I got the mock draft pulled up on my phone. Who do you actually think is going to go number 1 overall?
Number 1 overall?
Yeah. I think Cade Cunningham.
I mean, I don't think it depends on.
I honestly would have loved to see him stay.
Depend on who is there. If somebody needs a big, I mean, then you go Evan Mobley. But
right now,
Cade Cunningham is just so good. I don't know if you can pass up on him.
Right now, the top 10 picks as of right now are Houston gets the 1st, Minnesota gets the 2nd, Detroit gets the 3rd, Orlando gets the 4th, Cleveland gets the 6th. Oklahoma is going to get the 6th pick, the Wizards the 7th, the Raptors in the 8th, the Kings in the 9th, and the Magic in the 10th again. They have the top 5. They have Cade Cunningham going 1, Evan Mobley going 2, Jalen Suggs going 3, 4 is going Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga 5. I mean, I feel like that's a steady There.
I like
I
that.
feel
I
like
don't think there's gonna be much change from here to the draft in that order.
now
It's gonna
they
look
have
very
Scotty
similar.
Barnes going 6. They have Scotty Barnes going 6, but I do not. I don't know if Scotty Barnes could go 6.
Uh, yeah, Scotty Barnes is gonna have to find the right place to be. That would be the Oklahoma City, right? I don't think
That would be
Oklahoma's.
Scotty Barnes going number 6 to
I
Oklahoma.
think I think Oklahoma City could be a pretty good destination for him. I don't know how well he's actually going to do in the pros, but I think that would be one of the better spots for him to go. He
Yeah,
needs
I mean
a
they
six
don't
eight
have really.
guy who can play point guard, but it's just his
They,
shooting needs a lot of improvement. He's gonna have to take a couple years to develop into a really good NBA player.
I honestly think he should have stayed another year at Florida State.
No, he's gonna make too much money to do that.
But again, but also taking a step back from the draft, I honestly believe that the NBA should just get rid of the whole one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should
Here's
just
the
be able to
thing:
go right out of
one
high
and
school.
done only benefits the NBA. It doesn't benefit the NCAA. Sure, NCAA gets a couple of players that are like Zion. Zion benefited the NCAA because of the ratings and
Yeah.
all the hype he built for tournaments and everything. But what really benefits NCAA teams is when you have guys that come in and stay and build your program up. That's why this transfer rule is going to hurt a lot of NCAA teams, and especially mid-majors where guys have one good year, they transfer up to a bigger school and leave it behind their mid-major school. But yeah.
That's what I agree with that. And then I just feel like it doesn't like I hate to be honest with you. I hate watching Duke. Duke can have a good year because I'm a Duke fan. If Duke can have a good year, but knowing that we're losing our starting 5.
The difference with Duke is Duke will replenish every year and get more 5 stars. Same thing
Yeah,
with Kentucky.
until Coach K decides he's ready.
That's why they were bad this year. They didn't get anyone good. They got Roach,
DJ Stewart and
Stewart,
Roach.
Jalen
I
Johnson.
mean, we
Jalen
had
Johnson
Johnson at a point, but Jalen Johnson just ditched on us last effort. I mean, if
Jalen
you think
Johnson
about it,
just
that was
quit
the
on his
main guy
teammates.
though that came in was Jalen Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
That was our main.
But you need enough.
recruit.
I mean, if you're Duke and you're losing everything, you need to get another one of those guys back. And Wendell Moore I mean, what happened to Wendell Moore?
Wendell Moore was awful this year.
He was going into his freshman year. He's supposed to be a first round pick in the NBA draft. Now he's through his sophomore year and he's not projected to get drafted. He's going to have to come back for his junior year. I mean,
the thing
that's
that
the kind of thing that it would have helped him if he could have gone to the NBA, made his money. He probably wouldn't have done anything, but he would have made his money.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it into this aspect to where that the reason why, like, okay, Jeremy Breakerfield from Duke left this year. Goldwire left. Henry Coleman just left for the transfer portal. If you think about it, Matthew Hurt left. You think about it, the reason why these people made these decisions also is you got to think of the recruits that come in next year. We have Pablo Brancher coming in. We have Trevor Keels coming in.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people coming in. That's why Boogie Ellis did not come that one year because Trey Jones
he didn't want to play behind Trey Jones. Yeah. He did play a lot of 2-guard in Memphis, so it probably wouldn't have.
Well, now he's going to USC. He transferred to USC.
Yeah, USC. I think USC has a 2-year ban now, though.
You know who left Arizona State?
No.
Oh, Marcus Bagley, Marvin Bagley's brother, left for the draft. I didn't hear anything
he was projected
about
to go first round at the beginning of the year. He got hurt at some point. I think he came back, but yeah, he was not good. Arizona State disappointed so bad. They had Marcus Bagley and Josh Christopher, couldn't make anything out of it. I mean, when did you hear about Josh Christopher over the course of the season? Christopher was a top 10 player coming into this year out of the freshman class. No one heard of him. No one knows anything more about him. I mean, is he even in the NBA draft?
I honestly don't know. I would have to
They were bad.
Look it up.
I mean, they had a good team coming into this year. Remy Martin, Alonzo Verge, Kamani Lawrence, who's coming back again next year. And then, we also could talk about Arizona. Arizona fired Sean Miller. That was a long time coming. I mean, it was inevitable. You have to fire those guys. The other guy
Yeah.
that needs to be fired right here, LSU jersey, Will Wade, more than anyone. But bring in Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. He's going to be really good. They have a good team coming back next year. Arizona does. Benedict Mathurin, going to be one of the best players in the country. Kenjo is leaving for the draft or to transfer, but who knows? Maybe he can come.
Now, what do you think of Gonzaga next year?
All right.
Having the number one recruit Chet Holmgren committing there.
So early lineup for Gonzaga. Well, Nimhard is going to come back. Nimhard is a amazing player. I mean, he was like top 10, not top 10, top 20 player in the country 2 years ago at Florida. Transferred to Gonzaga, kind of got lost in all the stars there. He's going to come back for his senior year. He's going to be their point guard. They're going to have probably Julian Strait their start, and then Hunter Salas, top 20. I'm not sure. 5-star recruit coming in, Chet coming in, number one recruit in the country, obviously, and then the most likely player of the year candidate going into the season, Drew Timme, going to start. That'll be a nice pairing for Drew Timme. Chet can come inside, outside. Drew Timme can kind of control the middle. Drew Timme is an amazing post player, one of the best post players season, other than Kofi Coburn at Illinois. Dickinson at Michigan was a really good post player too.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly, but the thing is that worries me the most is Gonzaga went undefeated last year. Went to the title game, lost. The thing is that Gonzaga will have a good team, but they can't hold it together when they need to.
Yeah.
Now, here's another question. I know this is
Gonzaga is always going to be good because Gonzaga is not. Now they're getting really good, like top 5-star guys, but Gonzaga is going to get like 3-star, 4-star guys from overseas that come in their freshman year, sit the first year or two, and by their junior and senior years, they're like the best players in the country.
Yeah. Now here's another question that's kind of like off topic that I want to get your opinion on. The 2015 Kentucky Wildcats went undefeated in the tournament until they went to Wisconsin and lost to Wisconsin. Now, who was a better team? The 2020, 2021.
In terms of NBA prospects?
No. I'm saying
I don't think
which one
Gonzaga will match up with Kentucky.
No, which
better
team was
overall
better,
basketball
though?
team?
Well, I'm saying who would you see? I'm trying to figure out how to like.
If they were playing each other, who would win?
Yeah, the 2015 Kentucky
that's
Wildcats
a tough
team
one.
or the Zags this season.
I don't think Gonzaga could. I think that Kentucky team had a little bit too much size for Gonzaga. I don't think Gonzaga can match up with the size of that
who was still a young.
Yeah, the size and the quickness of that Kentucky team. That's why they got beat against Baylor, got killed against Baylor. They couldn't match up against the size and speed of those players.
And that helped that championship game helped out Donovan Mitchell.
Davion
Mitchell. Sorry, my bad. Davion Mitchell.
I mean, he's a really good player.
He's going to be a lottery
defensive player of the year.
He's going to become a lottery pick.
The top 10 pick in the draft, no question. Yeah. One of the fastest players. Probably the fastest player in the country last year. So fast. Yeah. All right. Well, here, let's kind of get into what our predictions for next year are. So, Final Four predictions. My Final Four, looking at it right now, I have, UCLA. UCLA got to the Final Four last year, bringing pretty much everybody back. Juzang is going to test the draft waters. I guess that Juzang probably does stay in the draft because I think he's a first rounder at this point. Juzang was by far the best player in last year's NCAA tournament. Scored 20 points every single game, played terrific, and he's going to get drafted if he stays. If he comes back, UCLA. If Juzang comes back, UCLA is the number one team in the country next year, no question.
See, also the UCLA brought I undeniably, I think the best game of the tournament this year was the Final Four game against Gonzaga versus UCLA.
Best
That
game,
was the best game of
best
college basketball
NCAA tournament game in 10 years. Yeah. One of the
for
best
sure.
college basketball games ever. It's
Now I honestly see UCLA building off of that. So I could totally see UCLA going to the Final Four.
Yeah, absolutely. They're bringing back Tiger Campbell, their point guard. He's going to be a junior. Jamie Jaquez, I don't know. I think he's a senior, really, really good player. Just those two guys are really big guys to bring back. Cody Riley, I think, is coming back. They're bringing in Miles Johnson, center from Rutgers, huge, 6'11", 250 something pounds. And then they're bringing in Peyton Watson, top 10 recruit in the country. He could fill that role with Juzang leaves. Chris Smith might be back. Their best, who was supposed to be their best player last year and got injured, didn't get to play. Yeah, UCLA is going to be amazing. So let me ask you this: you're one team from your Final Four for next year.
Duke.
Duke, right?
I am telling you, Duke's
If
gonna
they
make
can
a
get
run for
Patrick
it.
Baldwin to come, then yes, they have a really good chance. That like
And
Zion, RJ, and Cam, not
yeah,
the top three, but three of the seven best players in the country. Yeah,
I think
absolutely. And
I would also
Keels,
say so Duke. I feel like Gonzaga is gonna make another run for it.
I have Gonzaga in my Final Four. Yeah.
I have Duke, Gonzaga, UCLA is
The
in
one
mine.
thing that does worry me with the Gonzaga next year, I don't know if they have enough depth next year.
Yeah,
I
I can
mean,
see that. That's another yeah. But I also I want to say I could potentially see Texas going into the Final Four or Oklahoma. I could see them potentially having
I
a run
don't
for
see
it.
Oklahoma making the Final Four. Texas is really good. Texas has had a ton of transfers. Bring back Andrew Jones. Uh, Chris Beards flipped a couple guys from Texas Tech to come with him to Texas. I don't have it right here. Christian Bishop, a guy from Creighton, who's their starting center. He's coming into Texas. Yeah. I mean, they'll be good. I don't know about Final Four good, but yeah. Another here. So UCLA Gonzaga, that would be a really good matchup to have again. The third team I have for my Final Four, kind of I mean, not really a sleeper. They're projected top 10. That's not a sleeper. Arkansas. Arkansas is bringing in three amazing transfers. Chris Lights can score whenever he likes. I mean, Lights can score whenever he likes. About like 5'2", but he's amazing.
5'2"
Audis
with an
Tony,
attitude.
transfer from Pitt. Stanley Umdidi, transfer from South Dakota, I think. So, yes, University of South Dakota. Averaged 20 points per game last year in his conference. Really good player. They're bringing back Devo Davis. Devo Davis might be the best defensive player in the country next year. I mean, Devo Davis single-handedly won Arkansas this round of 32 game against Texas Tech. Played Mac McClung one-on-one full court, denied him the ball for the last 16 seconds of the game, didn't even give him a chance to score. Unbelievable player. They bring back Jalen Williams, who I'm not a huge fan of, but they can develop him. He can block shots, become a better player. All right, so you're two more teams from your Final Four. Who do you have so far? Duke.
Duke, UCLA, Gonzaga,
Mm-hmm.
and then I mean if I'm going to change it up from Texas to or Oklahoma, I would say I don't know. It's such a
I mean, you can have Texas or Oklahoma in there. I'm not gonna.
I want to keep Texas. I want to keep
All right.
Texas.
Yeah, I
I
respect
could
that. I
totally
could
see
see
that,
Chris.
but
I could see Chris Beard doing that. I mean, he's a good enough coach for him to be able to take Texas to the Final Four, even right now. All right, the fourth team I have for my Final Four, another team that has worked the transfer portal really well, Maryland, have two
I
amazing
don't see
players
them
coming
going
in.
Final Four though.
Qudis
I don't see
Wahab,
them going.
transfer from Georgetown, averaged 14 and a half points, somewhere I'm not sure, 6 to 8 rebounds, somewhere in that range. And then Fats Russell, point guard from Rhode Island, really, really good player. He's coming in. He's going to run their point guard. And then they have three guys that they need to get back. Dante Scott, Aaron Wiggins, and Eric Ayala. If they can get those three back, then they're going to be as good as anyone in the Big Ten next year. I mean, I'd pick them to be my Big Ten champions. I mean, they also have Hakeem Hart coming off the bench, Darius Hamilton. They did bring in another transfer. I don't remember who it is right now, but I think they have a decent recruiting class. They're going to be really good next year. That's my Final Four for next year: UCLA, Maryland, Arkansas, and Gonzaga.
I like that. I totally like that. I think
All right.
I think that's a wrap for the first podcast.
No, come on.
What's
Player of
there
the
much
year
to talk
prediction for
about?
next year.
Player of the year. All right. Okay. All right. I'm trying to. Player of the year.
I have three right here.
What? Let's see here. Your three.
Drew Timme is the obvious one. I think that's going to be pretty much everybody's going into the season. My second one is I believe he's entered into the draft, but I don't think he's going to stay in there. I think he's going to transfer. The best transfer in the country right now, maybe the best player in the country, Marcus Carr, transfer from Minnesota, can score like anybody. Really good player. And then a kind of a sleeper pick for player of the year, Buddy Boeheim. Played amazing down the stretch last year. Really good ACC tournament. Really good couple games in the NCAA tournament. Going into his senior year, he could have a breakout year and just go crazy, win player of the year. Syracuse could be really good again. They bring back Joe Girard. Cole Swider's coming in too from Villanova. All right. You give me your player of the year predictions?
I see. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't really looked at it that deep. But I mean, I can respect Buddy Boeheim. Man, killer at threes. I mean, this man just can shoot whenever he wants, and it somehow goes in.
Yeah.
Just like how Oregon State did it against Oklahoma State. Whenever time they shot it, it went in. Sleep. Now I don't want to say this is a sleeper pick, but if he does good, I can see Chet Holmgren getting it.
Yeah, he definitely win it.
If he does his card, I feel like he needs to get on the. I think he's.
I think it would be a safe bet to bet that somebody from Gonzaga wins Player of the Year next year. There'd be
I
Nembhard,
do think
Timmy,
though
or
that Chet
Chet.
Holmgren. I
One of
think
those
Chet,
guys could. Those three guys are both really, really good players for Player of the Year next year.
I think if Chet can gain muscle, because right now he's looking like Bol. If he gains some muscle,
he's not as big as Bol.
well, I know, but
He's
I'm just saying
tiny.
he's like Bol is like a stick. Same thing with Chet. Mm-hmm. Chet just needs to get the muscles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, needs to work out. Yeah. All right, one last thing. Local teams here. Record predict. How many wins do we think UNC, Duke, and NC State are getting next year? Start with UNC.
UNC, I think I can see them getting. I want to say maybe I could see them getting at least 7 wins. I want to say 7.
In 7 wins over the entire season?
Yeah.
You're predicting they win 7 games in the
I thought you mean the whole entire season?
Yes, the entire
strictly season. ACC. I don't know. I don't know. You might have to come back to me on this one, bro.
For UNC, I'm going to predict 10 ACC wins. Let's say they win 9 games out of conference, win an ACC tournament game, and I don't right on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. Let's say they finish with 20 wins. That's how many. I'm going to predict 20 wins for Carolina next year.
I'll guess just for the hell of it, I'll guess 15 just to go.
All right. Okay.
Just thinking.
I feel
like Duke. Oh, that's my team. I could see them 22, 23.
I think they win 14 to 15. I think they win 14 to 15 ACC games, win pretty much everything. Win 2 games in the ACC tournament. I don't think they win it. How many is that? 14 until 26. Win 3 games in the NCAA tournament, get to the Elite Eight, lose in the Elite Eight. 29 wins.
Hold up, my
And-
audio went out for some reason.
First podcast
Hold up.
problems.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. It came back. It's on the computer now. So
Hear me echoing in the background. Oh, I still can.
you can't hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. State, I feel like they're not going to do as well. I love State.
Yeah, I don't think State's gonna. I'd say
I see
maybe
10,
8 or 9 ACC wins.
10. Yeah. Now
Say
here's
they
also
win
another
18
thing
games
I kinda
overall.
wanna- Yeah, 18 games. I can see that. One last thing, actually. Tennessee basketball has jumped
That'd be
to,
good.
I think, 5th in the recruiting class. They got Jonas Adui from Durham.
Brandon Huntley Hatfield reclassified
have-
up a year to go to Tennessee this year.
They have
36th in the next year's class. I think he's 17th this year.
yeah.
Not sure.
Well, I feel like Jonas is a good add to Tennessee.
Bring back John Fulkerson. Really, really good
John
player.
Fulkerson's coming back. I think that if Jonas can
Justin
play his
Powell,
part-
transfer from Auburn, it was really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like if Jonas can, I'm not gonna hype up Jonas, not because I don't like him. It's just I don't know how he's gonna play against next level talent.
Yeah.
Right now he's playing.
He's
he
not-
played for
I don't
Liberty
know.
Heights.
He's not.
But-
There's really no he's gonna do, but yeah. Tennessee
But
basketball could be really good next year.
Yeah, but
Although they
that's
could have been
another team
really
I
good
actually
this
wanna
year
play.
and weren't.
I think I honestly, actually, my Final Four, I'm going to have Tennessee in there. I'm going to take out Oklahoma
Fair.
and Texas, and I'm
Fair.
going to put Tennessee in there because I feel like that's a threat right there. Tennessee will be a threat.
All right. Well,
Guaranteed.
that's pretty much all we've got today.
Yeah,
Wrap
come
up
back
the
next
first
week.
episode of the Rough Draft Podcast.
Next week,
we're gonna hopefully
next
be
week,
doing some NFL draft stuff. Maybe an
Yeah.
NFL draft live stream.
and we're going to have a special guest on the show.
Maybe.
So
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. However we do this.
yeah.
Don't know, but this is just our first podcast. Hopefully we have a lot more to come. Thank you guys. Bye.
See you.